like the better. Sorry, we are still like a big mess in terms of our format, but I think we are fine.
A
I think we're
little
fine.
bit.
And the
A little
funny thing
bit.
is that we both have our green screen at the back, but we are not using it, so it's just like a peach green at the back here.
And
And
the green yellow as well. We're both
yeah, and we
wearing
have
the
the
same
yellow,
colors.
so I think yeah, like I think it's a nice color, is it? It makes you happy.
I guess
And
so.
yeah, that's good. That's good. And we do have our podcast note today, and I will just put it up
Yes.
here. I put it in a BCD link because I discovered that like the Notion link is so not typable. So I put
No.
that in. And I can also put it in the chat, but I think there's no one on the chat yet, so maybe it doesn't worth doing it. But if you're watching it, later, then it's more convenient for you. Okay, so what I would do is that I would share the note or the tab that I opened for the note. So let's go.
Yes.
How are you doing, Lace? It's very sunny today in London, and I had a walk to the park. I see some very cute dog, so that really makes my day. So how about you?
Nice. Yes, I worked from the park today, actually. I got up. I mean, I did a little bit of work in the morning here. Then was way too sunny to be indoors. So I just decided to go to the park and got my laptop out and laid on the sunshine for a few hours. That was super
Ooh,
nice. And
that's nice.
now,
Your internet works in the park.
phone. I can just
Oh,
hotspot
okay.
from my phone. Yes.
Right. All right.
Yes.
I never trust my service provider in London with my phone because there's so many blind spots like in London that I don't really trust it. So, but anyway, so okay, so let's have a look at our. So are you familiar with this webpage, people? So yeah, by the way, I'm wearing a EuroPython tee. I forgot which year it is in, but this is a EuroPython volunteer tee. Um, anyway, go back to the webpage. So this is PyCon US 2021, and I think the CFP just closed, and they're working very hard to make the conference happening online this year. And so Lace and I have been in touch with the organizers, and reason being that we would help out in one of the very exciting events in the summit, in the PyCon summit, and it's the Mantle Sprint that Tanya is also, working in that. And yeah, so basically all the news like is not officially out yet. We are again like we are being very sneaky and like we just one step ahead. But like what I would recommend everybody to do, like, because PyCon is such a wonderful conference. It's the biggest PyCon in the world, I guess. So I think, yeah. So
I think
yeah,
so,
so
yeah.
summit. So it's like only one that announced is the Python language summit, but definitely more will be added. There are loads of events that's going on, loads of amazing talk. Usually,
Yes.
they only pick the best talk because there are lots of proposals, and I'm not even like confident that I'll be in because there's like so many like really good speakers around the world that would submit a proposal. So definitely the standard is really high, and so what I would recommend everybody to do is to go to register. So if you register, you will get all the news about PyCon, including the summit that we just mentioned. And also like there are different rates for people. It's like more affordable this year because it's online. If that's still not affordable for you because maybe your financial situation is different, because you may not be from the US or Europe, that everybody's situation is different, so you can apply for financial aid if you need help. So yeah, and it's closing at the end of March, so if you really want to join and if you really need help, you better apply early rather than late. Yeah, anything to add?
I want to add that they're gonna be sprints, regular sprints. There are
Mm-hmm.
also gonna be some really cool workshops. So I think it's 1 or 2 days only exclusive for workshops, which is quite interesting as well. I've heard wonders about the workshops at PyCon US. And then, now there's also us with mentored sprints. So if you're a newbie and you haven't really made a pull request yet, or you want to learn how to make one, or you just want to maybe contribute to some cool stuff that we're bringing along, just keep an eye on the website because we're gonna publish some stuff soon, right?
Yeah, just register for a ticket.
Yes,
That's what I would say. Yeah.
register for a
Yeah.
ticket. Yes.
Yeah, register for a ticket. And so the next thing that we got to talk about, by the way, Luke is online. Hi, Luke. um, so
Hello.
yeah, the next thing is that for them, I think they publish all the talks now, so you can
Yes.
watch them. You can watch them all. So I don't know how to get to watch. Like, do they have a YouTube channel or anything?
The things I don't know actually. I
Yeah.
think they do. I to be honest, I only watched my talk after it was published. I watched some talks on the day, but after it.
Yeah, oh yeah, there's some like maybe videos. I am not sure because like I also got a notification that your talk has been published. So
Mhm.
maybe in the Python dev room we will find them. I don't know. Let me see. I'll give it a try. If don't, then maybe like just stay tuned to the news that they have. You know.
Video Q&A, maybe video only.
Oh,
No,
why
no.
there's a dead link? Yeah, this is a dead link there. Okay. So maybe yeah, maybe they would announce it soon. I think it's just that this, they just like because both Lace and I had been submitting a talk, so maybe both
Yeah.
like we just like been told that okay, your video will be out. I was like okay, so maybe it's in YouTube, is it? So
They said actually, have a look. Tell people that your video is out now. The link doesn't bring you to YouTube though, so I don't really know.
oh, there's a
But
YouTube
yeah,
channel, so
let's check.
maybe it's on YouTube. So let's check. We will figure it out. So 3 months ago, okay.
Mm.
But definitely I would, you know, what I'll do is to give this link in the note so you can check this. I'm sure that it will be published here. So let me put that in the note for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did you enjoy, Chuck, the conference? You were there, weren't you?
Yeah, I am. And for them, like, I mean, I would actually prefer to go to Belgium because I can enjoy the beer there as well. But the thing is that it's still first time, right? You got a lot of chance to mingle with people in the open source space, and then you can actually learn something that is because the thing is like we have been to so many like Python conference, and it's not common for us to like go to a space that is also for other things other than Python. So
True.
it's a really good chance to explore a little bit, and also it's free. First time is free, so what can you ask for? So yeah, so
Ah.
that's a good thing, and all the talks is here. I mean, like yeah, go check it out, and there's lots of amazing thing there. Yeah,
And let's wait for
so
our socks to get there as well. Very
yeah.
good.
And so this is the next thing. This is EuroPython. We just like jumping from event to event. But this is brand new. I mean, like this. I think this is just launched today, and so this is our launching page, kind of like those products that you have a launching page. So we have that. Um, so we kind of like EuroPython this year, 2021. We will be online again. So we call it distributed because you know in some country, maybe by the time in July it will be safe to have a small gathering. But we are not sure. So basically, what we'll do is like we call it distributed, and then people can join. If you are not allowed to socialize with people, you can join from your home, socialize online, or if you are allowed, like if your local government allow gathering, then maybe you could just gather some friends and watch it. You know, in your living room together.
Yeah,
Um,
together.
so yeah, if things in UK in London is safe to do that, maybe I can invite Lace, you come over and join me in the note. Yeah, so that would be fun. So yeah, but we don't know yet. It's July, and things change very rapidly, from my experience in the last few months. So we don't know. So, but it will be fun for sure. And now we are looking for volunteers. We are looking for volunteers to help out. And because this is the second time we run a kind of online format, so we know how the structure would be. And then, we need a lot of help from people from tasks like helping us to launch the actual conference website, or it's or you could help to section the chair, just host and then introduce the speaker and all this stuff, or you could you could just help, for example, financial aid, review the application, review the call for proposal application. So yeah, there's a lot
Yep.
of tasks that we need people to help. So if you're interested,
Yep.
email the board at europython.eu, I think so.
Yes, there is a lot of stuff to do. Like there is blog posts, there is social media stuff that is also to be done. There is multimedia as well. That like we make the memes for the conference, and there's documentation. There is loads of stuff, and so and to get to make EuroPython as good as it can be and as fun as it was last year, or even more fun, we need help, volunteers help. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we do have like a lot of people joining from around the world last year because it was online, and it's amazing. And then like a little like sneak peek of we do have financial aid program this year, and then so people from other countries, if your financial situation is different, everybody's different, and if you need help, definitely we would like to help, and you can apply for financial aid this year. And we just hope you can join, everybody get a fair chance to join EuroPython. Okay, so next one is happy birthday, Python. Shall we sing happy birthday, or we will scare everybody away?
I don't think we should. No, I don't really
Okay.
don't think we
Okay,
should.
I'm actually ready to sing happy birthday, but well, okay, if Lay says so. I don't want to scare all our viewers away, but so yeah, it's actually a big birthday to Python. It's the 30th
Yes.
birthday of Python. I think
Yes.
there was a question in because my company had the internal party, and then we had a quiz with there are questions, and then one question was like, which one is older, Python or Java? So Lace, what's your guess?
Java is older. I would say so.
No, Python is older.
You
Java, I think, is
see?
like a few years younger. Yeah, it's a few years younger. And Python, I actually I remember like during the round, I told my teammate that like Python is 30 years old, and I'm that's correct. Like, yeah,
Bang on. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So it's a big number. I mean, yeah. So happy birthday, Python. And also the PSF is it's 10 years younger because well you need to have enough user to build a foundation, right? So yeah, happy birthday for both. I mean,
Nice. I did not know that. I mean, I knew it was Python 30th birthday, but I thought Java was much older.
yeah, no, actually, yeah,
It's kind of like those people, that just look much older than they actually are, and you're like,
yeah. Luke and I was on the same team, so yeah. But like that's the only question I can answer. Like Luke answer all the other questions. So okay. So the next thing, I think we should go fast because like we have quite a long interview with Lemon
Yes.
this week. So maybe we should go a little bit faster with the news.
Yes.
So the Python developer like survey. This is by JetBrain, by the way.
Yes.
So because I know that like some people would be like, oh yeah, there's bias because it's done by JetBrain, so it may not may not reflect the all the Python users. Well, yeah, take it with a grain of salt. It kind of like it is a good that they did the survey, but I mean like well with anything else like you always need to take it with all the background information and things like that, right? So yeah, so this is the survey, and then like Python is actually quite popular, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
where is Python? What's going on here?
I think it's the first one of the like. I think 85% of the people of the developers that were interviewed use Python. No, use Python as the main programming language.
Right.
Yeah, sure. It was around here. I swear. Um,
Yeah, and I think this is like the other language. Okay, you say with other language, you say with JavaScript. Okay, I can see that would be web development. Next time, yeah, this is very heavy like web development thing, I think. And then Bash and Shell, of course, you can use a process, and SQL, of course, data is a big thing. Lots of data still
yeah.
stay in the SQL space, and C++. That's the backbone of Python, right? Because that's if you want to speed up Python, you have to write some C. Um, yeah, I think it makes sense. Rust, I do
Yep.
know some people use Python and Rust like to get the yeah, it's like actually first time last year, not this year. Like there was a talk about Python and Rust. So if you want to check that out, go to that YouTube channel. That I just post the link there.
Really?
Yeah.
Um,
So
I didn't know. I heard someone saying something about Rust in to
make it bigger.
build a interpreter, I think. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyway, like that doesn't. So yeah, so PyTest is still the most used library for Python, and then requests is one of the most used as well. And then Fast API was the first time that was inserted on the research and on the survey, and it was found to be the third web framework, the third most popular web framework,
Yeah.
with Flask and Django, and that was huge. Sebastian was super happy about it.
Yeah. You're a Team Flask, right? So yeah. So data analyst for, yeah, sure. I think this, again, this is not surprising. Like, so I would just give it over web development and hobby. What people like, game development is a hobby. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It's niched, let's say.
yeah. And lots of people like, even though lots of people use Python for data analysts, but a lot of people use Python basically like for web development the most.
Yeah.
So you consider yourself a data scientist? No, yes. So there's quite a lot. Like actually, there's like 32%. Ooh,
Yep.
version this. Okay, like 25%. Okay, now is okay. Only 6%. Okay, that's a good thing. Right.
I love how shocked you were on the first look.
Yeah, because like I look at it like, differences. Like what? Like, yeah, it's just backwards. I thought 2020 is the first one, but anyway. Yeah. Okay, this is more or less like same thing, and yeah, like, oh yeah, Python.org, of course, and
Yeah.
Anaconda is quite high. It's not surprising as well, and
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, virtual env is still
Yep.
the biggest one. Like I think poetry is climbing up. I have a feeling that poetry, like, because I start exploring it, is quite good. And definitely, I think it would take over pipenv for the simplicity to use.
I've heard. I haven't
Yeah.
used it. I used Conda, but then I tried to send something to someone, ask them to reproduce the environment with Conda, and it didn't work. So I'm thinking about changing. But I thought about changing to Docker. But okay,
Yeah.
poetry. Then you say.
The thing with Conda, my experience with Conda is that if you are using Conda with virtual env, you would be in trouble because they don't
Yeah.
like each other.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so far poetry, it works kind of, and yeah, I just think that because of the favor over like PyProject.toml over setup.config and setup.py. So I think, yeah, poetry may be, becoming more and more popular in the future. That's the trend that I'm seeing. It may not be Conda because like all the data science people still love Conda, but it may be pipenv in my opinion. So
Okay. All
yeah,
right.
we will see
Cool.
next year. That's like, I put my money on that, and yeah.
It's recorded now. All right.
Yeah,
We come
it's
back to it.
recorded. We'll come back to it, and then like someone, please, like if you're watching in the future, if I make this prediction right, please put your comment down. Like that poetry will beat Pitbank in 2022. Like I mean, like the report next year, like it will beat it this year. Yeah. So
2021. Yes.
yeah. Okay. So what am gonna do is to now. I think that's it. Everything, right? Or
No, that
Sebastian
is.
just like, yay, okay,
Yeah.
that's for Flask. Yeah, I think that's it for the news, and then we now jump to the interview with Lemon. So, Lace, could you like give us maybe a brief introduction, like where you met Lemon and all this stuff?
Yes. Yes, I can indeed. So the interview this week is with Leon. I'm never great at saying his surname, but he's well known as Lemon. So he's the owner of the Python Discord. I think the most people must know Python Discord, but if you don't, it's like the biggest, one of the biggest communities with one of the communities with the biggest number of active Python users around, and it's super cool. And it's super cool. And he's also a professional chess player and a Rubik's Cube Rubik's Cube player as well. And we met in, I think we all met in pajamas last year, wasn't it?
Actually, I think, yeah, the thing is that I've joined a Python Discord, and then I really want some help in promoting pajamas, and then I don't know like where the idea came from, and I just like saw that, oh, Lemon is the administrator of the Discord, and I was like, okay, maybe instead of just posting something, I would ask for, a more official mandate that, I can promote stuff. So I messaged him, and I think that's how it started.
Yeah, so that's it. And it was a super fun
Yeah.
interview, a really cool chat.
By the way, I
And
was testing a new feature of StreamYard that I directly shared the video file and it autoplays. So sorry about that, Lace.
it's
I
okay.
was not expecting that. Um,
I loved it. I love the song anyway, so it's cool.
yeah. So I think that's it. And then we would just, hands off the wheel now and just play the interview, and we can all enjoy together. So
Yes.
let's see. Hope it works. So hello, we are all here, and so by the way, if you're watching live, that we are actually recording this interview because it's Thursday today for us right now. So
It's like less than 24 hours, so it's okay.
yeah, and we have Leon. You may know him as Lemon on this Python Discord channel with us. Hello.
Hey, thanks for having me
Hey.
on.
Yeah, that's awesome. We would love to chat to you like for a long, long time. I think a lot of people from the Discord community would be like, okay, finally we can meet his, real face, I guess.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so I think that's like one of your identity, kind of like. So, yeah, can you maybe introduce yourself a little bit so we know that's like what other things you're doing in the Python community as well?
Sure. I am usually known as Lemon or Lemonsaurus. That's right. I run the Python Discord community. I work with Python in my job as well. I work for a company called Dignio. We write software for hospitals and municipalities, health tech. Right now, we're working on COVID-19 software for remote monitoring of patients who are infected. And I contribute a little bit to open source here and there. I run some events that people may have been involved with, like the Python Discord Code Jam, and recently I've been people have maybe noticed that I wrote a song about Pep 8 that
Oh yeah, I
that
love
went
it.
all over Twitter.
I have earworms. Like it has been stuck in my head for ages. I still have it in my head now. Now you mention it.
How many views does he have now? Do you know? Are you
Oh, I think
counting?
something like 35,000.
No.
Whoa.
Really? Last time I checked was close to that, so maybe it's more now.
Maybe.
I'm counting.
Yeah, I help sharing it as well. I share it with my colleague because they
Yeah.
don't follow Pep 8. It's like they're driving me insane, so I have to share that to them.
I thought it was really funny. A couple of my friends told me that the colleagues of theirs had posted it in like the work Slack, and then they'd been able to say, "Oh, I know that guy." Like completely randomly, it made its way around lots of different little communities where Python is used. It's been really nice.
Yeah. So also I have a question about your nickname, like Lemon. How can it like came, to be?
Right. It's something that my sweetheart Soph has been calling me for nearly 10 years. My fiance, we've been together. We're sort of like childhood sweethearts. I've known her for 15 years or so, and she started calling me Lemon a long time ago. And back then it was sort of like, I'm Leon, stick an M in the middle, and bam, you've got Lemon. That's it. It wasn't a very complicated, like there's not a big backstory. I don't
That's very
particularly like
sweet.
lemons either.
Oh, well, that's very cute. Like, yeah, that's a really good story to tell as well.
But I've just sort of doubled down on the lemon thing. You know, like if you go to my website, there's lots of lemons in the background. In the Python Discord community, they've started making lemon emojis. So there's a whole set of, they call them
Everywhere.
lemojis. And
Oh.
yeah, there's like, you know, dozens. So I guess at this point, I'm sort of trying to own it. Like now,
Yeah.
okay, fine, I'm lemon. That's it.
And
Yeah,
there's lemon
definitely.
flowers as well.
And lemon source as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like I also like some of my friends call me Cherry, which is again like it's the name that I grew up with. You know, my nickname that I grew up with. So yeah.
I
I
don't
think
have a nickname. It's like
you
it's
know.
too short. My name is too short to have a nickname. I don't have one.
Yeah. Because like we meet pie, right? So I think we can have a lemon pie, and you know, like we should make it like a cover for today's program.
Yeah.
So Lace, do you have anything to ask?
Well, yeah. So there's lots of stuff to ask there. Do you want to tell maybe us a little bit more about Python Discord?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about Python Discord. So, for those who are not familiar with it, a rough introduction to what it is. So, Discord is a chat platform originally intended to capture sort of gamers and to target that market that was using stuff like Mumble or TeamSpeak to communicate while they were playing together. So it has a really, really solid sort of voice features at its core. But then they sort of pivoted a couple years, or maybe last year, to become more of a general chat platform because they started attracting a lot of tech communities and some major communities for YouTube streamers and Twitch streamers and tech communities like for React and the Palettes project is there. They started going over there because it turns out that well, the alternative is basically Slack, which makes it difficult to grow really big because they're really intended to have, I mean, they don't have a very good onboarding system for getting new members into the community. You have to sort of approve their emails and go through a whole thing. And then once you get to a certain size, they put paywalls in place to like prevent a number of messages into a channel. And it's just difficult. So people started looking for other stuff, and there's open source stuff like Matrix and things like that, but they don't really have that many users. So if you want to like organically attract traffic, you have to go to Discord basically because that's where people are right now. So that's where those
Yeah.
conversations are happening. So we started Python Discord 4 years ago, pretty much exactly 4 years ago today, I think, if I'm not completely mistaken.
Today?
And, it's something, it's late February at some point. It's pretty close to
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
And I joined a couple months after it was started, and back then we only had a few hundred users, but there were a couple of us in the admin group where I eventually ended up. Me and Joe Banks, especially one of my co-owners, we were really like we had this really strong motivation and ambition to like grow it big and do something real with it. We wanted Python Discord to be sort of a household name in the Python ecosystem. And so we started with all sorts of guerrilla tactics to grow bigger. You know, we went out and found other communities to partner with. Sometimes we merged with other communities and absorbed their staff into ours and all of their users. We went outside of the Discord platform to try to get really good SEO, so we'd show up in search engine results. We went to Reddit. We're on Twitter now. Just like looking for any kind of avenue to hold on to so that we could keep growing and attracting more and more people.
And
The pandemic helps. I mean, like
yes.
a lot of other other Python communities start using Discord as well, including my company. Like my company is just, you know, we were on Slack and now we are on Discord for work. So
Yeah, and I think that during the pandemic, the types of users that were attracted to Discord shifted, because before 2020, I felt like the majority of the users, the typical Discord user was very young, a teenager who was into gaming and streamers. Whereas in 2020, you got really serious organizations start to join Discord, like EuroPython did. their event there, and the PSF had their core dev sprint actually in our community, and then at that point you had all of these like serious players in the Python ecosystem who were on that platform. So we started to attract a different kind of user, and now we have 100 or so staff members at Python Discord, and many of them are like library maintainers, and they're professionals with like a decade of experience writing professional Python. So we've attracted like really advanced users. Many of them have joined our staff, but there are some that are just regular members in the community as well, and content creators and authors and people like that. Yeah.
And how many admins you have around?
How many admins we have?
Yeah.
I think we're 9 admins.
Must
And
be very busy.
yeah. And the entire community of like the staff and everyone?
Oh, the entire community now I think has hit 150,000 users.
So the plan to grow worked.
Yes, and most of that growth happened last year during this pandemic. I don't know how much of a part COVID played versus some of the other things that happened to us, but it was probably a combination of those factors. I think the pandemic did change the landscape a little bit, but also one of the things that really worked for us last year was that we got featured as we were already partnered with the Discord platform itself, and they asked us to be on their new discovery page. So that's like in the client itself, you can go there, you can discover communities, right? So it's like
That's
a browser.
that's how I found out this community actually.
Yeah. And now almost half of our users come from that discovery pane, and we were featured on the front page of that for a while, for a couple of months, and they put us in all sorts of contexts. So like we were extremely visible inside of the Discord platform itself, and it attracted, I think, we got beyond what you might call critical mass. The snowball started rolling, and now there's no stopping it. We're just growing completely out of control.
Yeah, it must be crazy that there's so many Python users or potential Python users who maybe someone learning Python's there. Like, so how does it work? Like, if 'cause if I go to a conference, then I will meet people. I would go to a talk, learn something, and sometimes I may even ask people for help. So how does that work in the community?
Well, we just have to split the community up into a number of channels. Often these are, we have channels for specific topics, so like async or game development or web development and so on. And people who are comfortable in those areas, they'll gravitate towards those. And then there'll be like a micro community within the community, right? So all the game developers will start hanging out with each other and meeting each other. So it'll be like a little conference happening in every channel in some ways, or at least like a room, right?
Yeah.
And I think there is a chance to, because people can't deal with the chaos. You have some channels that are completely out of control. There's so many messages happening that you can't socially interact with anyone really. It's just a wave of, have you seen a Twitch chat? That's what it looks like sometimes.
Oh yeah. It's just like when you see one message and then it's gone. Like, where is it? Like, it's just
It's like primordial chaos. It's just nothing. So what you do is you seek out like a quiet corner, and then that quiet corner is usually a channel about a specific topic, one of the topical channels, or maybe it's that you start contributing to us or getting into the branding. You're making these emojis, right? Yeah. If you're good enough to make an emoji, then there's a channel where we do that, and there's only maybe like 6 or 7 people who are hanging out in that channel. So then you get a smaller, like a micro community where you can actually meet people and get to know people.
Yeah. Wow, this is like blow my mind because well, it's very different. Like when I'm in my work channel and then in maybe a conference channel that like a conference server that like you mentioned EuroPython and like in a giant Python community like that is totally different. I think the dynamics so different, like from my experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, how do you keep that organized? I mean, like you said, you split the whole community up into smaller sections. Like about administration, do you have a hierarchy of doing that, or do you get a lot of volunteers help as well?
Yeah, I mean, it is all volunteer help at the end of the day. So all the 100 staff members we have, none of them are paid or really benefit other than, I guess, in some way they're gaining some sort of notoriety in the ecosystem and the networking with people. So it's good for them probably, and you can wield, I think, your affiliation with Python Discord like a weapon to like affect your career and so on. But we don't pay anyone, so it's all volunteer work, and it's difficult. It's it's a strange beast. I can't control it. You just have to learn to sort of ride the waves. I think it's actually really interesting because you compare a community like Python Discord to a business. So if I was running a business, I could essentially buy productivity. I could go out and I could say, I will pay you a salary, you make me this tool, then I take that tool and I can do something with it. And, like that's how business operates, right? But I don't have that option at Python Discord. So the only thing there that I can do is sort of try to intercept motivation when I see it. I have to sort of have little radars on at all times and like look for people who are motivated and then try to sort of shape that motivation into something productive for the community, right? And that's very challenging because you can't really like control it. I can't demand anything. I just have to try to ride the wave in the right direction. And sometimes people are super motivated for a day and then they just disappear off the face of the earth. Other times we're really lucky and we end up with people who are willing to put in like a year of really solid work and then become like a key player in the community. So when we find those people, it's just about acknowledging them and making them feel happy and appreciated and visible in the company or in the community. And nourishing and cultivating that motivation so that it doesn't dissipate, right?
Yeah, it's difficult to work with volunteers. It's different from working in a company for sure. I also do a lot of volunteer work, and yeah, sometimes like you have to, kind of deal with people differently than if your colleague, like everybody know that they have a role, they're paid to do that, so they may take stuff, they can take a punch, right? but like with volunteers, you have to be really careful about not putting people off and things like that.
Yeah,
And the
different
bigger
expectations.
Yeah, exactly. And the bigger your organization gets, the more pitfalls there are. Like the more difficult it becomes to do a good job of making sure everyone is happy, because there's so much politics and there's so many interactions, and staying on top of all that, it's almost a full-time job just to navigate sort of the social network between all of these players.
Yeah.
It's tricky, but it's really, really rewarding. And I do believe that you could take that experience that you gain from working in a voluntary organization like that, and you can put that to extremely good use in a business. So like if you bring that with you. So I'm getting pretty good at understanding and cultivating motivation. And okay, yeah, you can buy productivity in a business, but motivation is like a multiplier. So like a motivated person will work twice as hard for the same amount of money. So if you can sprinkle a little motivation into your business, then you're like twice as effective than that you would be without it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like talk about work, like we are all very interested in the, your professional aspect of like when you started Python and become a professional, Python programmer.
Yeah. I'm actually a high school dropout who wanted to be a musician, and I spent 2 years like playing in bands and doing gigs and touring a little and making pretty much no money at all, and missed out my chance of having a real education. And then I went back and lived with my mom while I worked at tech support for several years. And then I found programming almost by accident. My sweetheart bought me this book about C++, and I had been told my whole life that programming was something you needed years of academics to understand. So I just thought it was like a joke. Like, there's no way I could read this book. It's just way too complicated because I don't have an academic background. But then I read the book, and it was fine. And I almost felt a little betrayed by all those people who had said that like programming was this difficult thing, because it turns out that it was actually well within, like I could comprehend quite well how it all fit together. I didn't really like C++. I gravitated towards other languages. Like I started with C, I did some C sharp, I learned a little JavaScript, and then eventually when I found Python, I sort of just fell in love with it and started putting it into my life in every nook and cranny. So you know, like brought it with me to work, automated all the stuff that I could. Did you guys like immediately start as a full developer, or did you ever have that just using programming in some other unrelated field?
Yeah, no. So I don't understand why people tell you that, like being a programmer need to have academic background. Because like when I thinking about what I study in university, I remember someone, a few years, senior than me told me that, if you go into computer science, you can't really go back into some other fields, like, because at that time I was choosing whether I study physics or study computer science, and like my mentor at the time, like he told me, you could actually, do science and then later decide that you can go to do computer science, but not the other way around. So that's a complete opposite of what other people tell you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I study physics, and I do use programming sometimes. It's part of the skills, and I'm glad that I had the skills. And but yeah, I mean, like, if now I compare myself with my colleague who work in the back end, I think, yeah, they came from an education with like understanding computer science, how computer work and all this stuff. I think that, yeah, if you have deeper understanding, maybe if you are building some maybe low level stuff, you have an advantage. But
Right.
for building an application, I mean, a lot of people can do that without without that, because it's more like practical skills. So
Yeah.
more like try and error, learning it by that way. So how about you, Lace? You're
Yeah,
still in college, is it?
yes. And for me, it was calculus. I needed Python because I was sick of Wolfram Alpha to figure out my integrals. So that's how I got in, like initially, and then I didn't use it for ages, and then I got back in with Java, hated, and then went back.
Yeah. Java is a
Yeah.
bit different.
But I think that maybe if you go back enough years, it used to be true that you needed academics to be a programmer. And it's become less and less true as time has moved on, because the information wasn't as easily available as it is today. Today anyone can go online and figure out how to do code, but back then that information was sort of locked into these ancient tomes that you only really had access to if you had the right teacher and you were in the right school or whatever, right?
Yeah,
Library.
definitely. I think the internet really changed the world a lot.
Uh-huh.
Now it's like if you can Google it, you can be an expert,
Yeah, it's like democratized education, which is amazing.
Yes, definitely.
It used to be this exclusive elite kind of thing to have that kind of knowledge, but now it's available to anyone who wants it.
It's like having printing press, in the even back, earlier time, than if all the books were made by hand, then only the nobles have a chance to get educated. So
yeah, I think exactly like that. I think the internet is sort of the modern day printing press.
yeah, that's amazing. So so I think talking about that scheme, like, that's also why I think open source is quite important, because it's just make knowledge more accessible by people. So so what are your open source experience? I know that you have some projects, so do you mind talking a little bit about those?
No, not at all. I mean, like most of the open source work that I do goes into the projects that are related to Python Discord, because there's a lot of open source in our organization, and we try to be a place where we want to be sort of a playground where people can learn to do their first open source contributions, and like in a soft and playful and fun way, they can get like an introduction to open source, so that they can easily get into a real project later. I mean, not that we don't do real projects. We do real projects as well, but we have a couple of projects that are designed to just be like a nice beginning project for people who are getting into open source for the first time. And I think that's a really nice, wholesome thing to be part of. Because, like I said, I had a hard time discovering that I could do programming. I was 21 when I really started learning to code. And I really wish I had started earlier. And I probably could have if anyone had just told me that it was possible and like I'd believed it. So like part of our mission is to try to tell people that it is possible and that if they come, we will help them do it. So some of the projects we do, okay, so we've got a bot called Sir Lancebot, a Discord bot. And
Love the name.
named
Yeah,
after the
that's
Monty
so cool.
Python character,
Yeah.
of course. And the idea behind Sir Lancebot is that it's just like fun little, because we've written all the boilerplate. So the bot has a complex system for setting up and working in an asynchronous way and handling all the events and all that stuff. But we've abstracted all of that away. So all you have to do is just write a single class, really just a single method of a class, and in there you put some toy or some simple fun thing. Maybe it's Halloween and you're writing a spooky movie recommendation function, right?
Yeah.
Or it's Valentine's and you make one of those love calculators, like to
Oh.
figure out the percentage chance that two users might end up together. And we have all of this. And there was one guy, my favorite feature in Sir Lancebot is it uses Perlin noise generator to create a snake. Like it draws a snake in a random shape and it's all curled up. And then there's a randomized quote at the top that has something to do with snakes, and it's in different colors, and the colors are always like a soft pastel. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But fun little things like that. Nobody really needs that function, but it's nice. It's a fun thing to make, and it's, I think, more satisfying to write something that actually becomes part of the community. They're helping shape the community in a sense, right?
Yeah, that's good. Because like Lace and I actually helping out to organize a mentored sprint in PyCon US this year, and so I don't know how much I can announce, but you know the idea is to really help people to start contributing to open source. Is kind of like your idea, so we put them in a setting that they could get more of a help, you know, more you know, mentor to help them to contribute maybe their first pull request or something like that. So yeah, maybe if you have those really fun projects, then you can consider bringing it there as well. So yeah,
Maybe. Yeah, we should talk about that. I think that you have to have sort of like the hard and the soft thing together. So we make it really fun and easy to write the actual feature, but we expect people to contribute that as a pull request. It has to be it has to pass a linter.
Yep.
You know, it goes through our continuous integration stack, and so they're learning all of these kind of complicated things in order to be allowed to merge their code. But at that point, they're already so invested because they wrote this beautiful love calculator or whatever it is. So they're willing to put in that extra effort to learn that little thing about GitHub or how what is a linter. Like a lot of people have never seen one before they come to us. I think it's important to sort of meet the user with those challenges at the end. Almost like a sneak attack.
yeah. The thing also, I think it's good that like I see that your Solan support like definitely attract a lot of young people to do that, and then like the thing is like when you learn all this, like I would say that is the some courtesy in contributing, like in writing code, in contributing code at the early stage of their career that is actually benefit more, because I know that a lot of developers that I came across in other settings, that they may be oh, they don't know how to make a pull request, because all the time they just push to the code, because that's how the company set up, right? You have all the access rights and you just push to that, and sometimes you don't even lynch your code and push that, and like your colleague will really like secretly hate you or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really really good to teach people that as well.
Yeah, I agree. We focus a lot on that where I work at. These soft skills, like writing a good commit message, is almost more important than being like a brilliant coder, because there's something about making the rest of the team productive as well. It's not just about you. If you can write something that's completely super optimal and it'll run twice as fast as my implementation, good, that's great. But what's even better is if you write code that's really easy to review, really easy to modify in the future when we need to write some sort of extension on it. These things are productivity gains, like they're an actual value for the business. So I think it's really important to have those soft skills, and so we try to do our best to sort of teach those kinds of good habits at Python Discord. And in every open source project I've ever been involved in, I always set up linters, CI, CD. I do proper reviews where I, correct people's grammar. Some people will hate me for that, but I think it's important to just start early with these good habits.
Yeah, I have been a butcher with my trilling white space a lot when I make my first pull request to pandas, and I thank those people for teaching me that. No trilling white space and use a linter. So I think this is the question from Lace actually. I know that Leon or Lemon, you are very busy. You have Python Discord, you have also a full-time job using Python to save the world right now, and your family as well. I know you have a small kid, so how could you juggle all these things?
Oh, it's tricky. I have my family makes it possible, I guess. Sophie picks up the slack where I need the extra time, and I try to find the time in the evenings or the weekends. And this is how I choose to spend my life. I don't go out in the weekends. I spend it with Python Discord. I spend it on open source. I don't have that much of a social life, I suppose, because I just don't have time for it. But I'm happy with that. That's my choice to invest my time like that. But it's difficult. There are just not enough hours in the day.
Yeah.
I wish I could have a 28-hour day or something like that. It would be amazing.
Yeah, at least you're well adopted to the COVID life now that nobody's going out anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no
Plays in my
social life.
favor.
Yeah, so
I almost didn't notice the difference. This is basically how I spent my weekends before COVID as well. So for me, it's like, okay, sure. But but I have a 4-year-old son, which also isn't like that. I don't really generally have. I spend the time I can with him. And with my fiance, and then beyond that, I'm meetings all weekend, and I'm working late many days for my normal job, or it's just very very busy. It's constant. I probably will end up getting burned out in some years, but that's what it is. That's how I choose to invest my time right now.
And also, you have time to teach your kid how to play chess. So you definitely love chess as well. Yeah.
Love chess. I think it's one of these things. He's interested, and I think it's rare for a 4-year-old to not think chess is boring. So I just want to latch onto that and try to nourish it. I found this great app called Magnus's Chess Kingdom. So it's basically like a normal overworld RPG almost, where you walk around and you collect coins and do stuff, but you have to play as chess pieces.
Oh.
And you have to move as chess pieces. So you're learning to overcome these challenges by you can't get past this place without using your bishop, or learning chess, but it's almost like sneaky because you don't realize that you're learning it. It's very
Wow.
clever, and he loves it. He's so excited about it.
Yeah,
It's
it
That's
is.
cool.
yeah,
Yeah. It's like inventing, like what we mentioned, the Shalensis sport, like, teaching stuff that, with, secretly that you have to,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
already enjoy playing the game and then now you're learning stuff as well.
It's
Yeah, fun
stealth
learning.
education.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really, really good. And so, yeah, I think it's almost time. Do you have any last question, Lace? Or,
I wanted to ask about Black Box.
okay.
Black box, cool.
Yes, yes. You gotta tell us about it.
So we migrated all of our infrastructure at Python Discord to Kubernetes, and mostly because I wanted to learn Kubernetes, and
Mhm.
it's like I try to use Python Discord as my playground where I get to learn new things. So it's a really if someone on the staff they want to learn some technology because they want to use it at work or in some project, and we could possibly use that technology to our advantage, then we try to like use that synergy to put that person in charge of that project so that they can get something out of it, like their personal goals align with the goals of the organization. I think that's a really valuable way to try to nourish that motivation. But
Mhm.
so this was one of those cases where like my personal goals was I have to learn Kubernetes, I need it for work, and we didn't really need to do it for Python Discord, but we decided that we could. It would have some advantages, and it would be interesting to do scaling that way. So Joe Banks, who's a brilliant young prodigy who knows a lot of things way more than he has any right to, given his age, he basically taught me everything I know about Kubernetes, and then we put it up together with a couple of other people helping as well on the staff, and we got it all up and running. And then we realized, oh yeah, but we don't really have any backups, and we need some tool that just gets a backup out of all the different databases that we have. So we have Redis, we have MongoDB, and we have Postgres. So we have quite a few different databases, and we just needed to store that backup somewhere. It's a couple of gigabytes. It's no big deal, but we need a couple of backups. So like every day for a week, and then rotate something like that.
Mhm.
So you can buy systems that do this. You can download some open source systems that do this. But I just wanted to write something simple that would take care of it for us within our specific like needs. And then it kind of got carried away, and I ended up writing this generic open source tool that can do backups of. So the concept is really simple. The user, all he does is he does a pip install Blackbox, and then you create a blackbox.yaml file for the config, and in that you leave these connection strings. Everything is a connection string in Blackbox. So you might have seen a connection string for Postgres. It looks like almost like a URL in your browser. So it's like Postgres
Yeah.
colon slash slash, and then your username, your password, the host
Mhm.
name, something like that.
Yeah, the REST API, right? So, yeah.
So I used that same technique for everything that Blackbox can do. So all the databases, of course, Mongo and and Redis as well. But then also so first you do the backup, then you want to store it somewhere. So we added connection strings to communicate with all different cloud storage systems. So you can have a Dropbox connection string that tells you how to connect to Dropbox, and then it'll store your backup there. Or you can have one for S3 or for whatever storage system that you want to use. We wanted to make sure we had some that were like easily available and free, so that people can use this even though that they don't have to pay a single dime. Dropbox is a good example. You get 2 gigs for free. And then you want someone to let you know when this has happened. So we added notifiers, which you put a connection string for Slack or for Discord, and it just sends a beautiful message that has like an emoji saying whether the backup was successful for each of the databases. And so you just put in these connection strings, and then off it goes. Create a cron job, whatever you want, and then now you've got it running. We added a really good README with examples for how to set this up for Kubernetes as a cron job there, and how you could set it up locally as well if you just have a regular old server. And I think it's a really nice project. But also, I think it's a really nice project to contribute to because we've tried to make it so easy to contribute. So, like, if you want to add an support for one additional database, all you have to do is write one file with one class in it, and it inherits a specific abstract base class for the database, a black box database, and that's it. You have to implement this method and that method, or else you get an error, and you're done.
Yeah.
You don't have to like put code all over the different systems and like learn how the whole thing is put together. You just have to write one file.
I'll definitely contribute to that because I can add the Terminus DB, which is the database that I work for in that
Yes.
supported.
You should do that. It really
Yeah.
is very simple to contribute. I should write a contributing guide, but honestly, if you look at the way that, for instance, Postgres is implemented, you realize like how easy it is to add another thing. And that was my goal when I was making. I wanted to make something that was completely trivial to contribute to. And that's one of the things I'm actually really proud of when it comes to Blackbox is how good it is at making it easy for people to help and to contribute to it.
Yeah, definitely. So I wish Django's is like that easy because I'm struggling to get like Django like writing the ORM for my database. It will take forever. But anyway, yeah, that's awesome. I really love that. And yeah, I think that's it for the interview. And thank you so much for Leon, for Lemon to come here.
My pleasure.
And
Absolutely.
please check out the Python Discord. If you haven't got Discord yet, just download Discord, open an account, and then look for the Python community there and join.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can find us
you.
at pythondiscord.com or .org, or discord.gg/python, or even just on python.org itself. There's a link to us in their community section, and you can learn all about us.
Yeah, that's the one. And join, and see you there then. Okay.
Hello,
We're back.
Yes.
Yep, we're back. Right. So that was interview with Lemon, and it was really enjoyable. It's great. So let me up the notes
Did
again.
you have fun?
I had fun. I had fun chatting with him. It's really good. Like, yeah, that's the good stuff. So,
I'm really looking forward to see Black Box, and Terminus DB all together. Yes.
Yeah. Talking about that, I was just like, I was taking some time to release the client while the interview was playing. But yeah, multitasking. So last bit that before we end today, you want to show us something, right? You want to show us the what was that? The free code cam, I think.
Oh yes, so it's just a pie commendation, right? So we're doing a little bit of recommendations on this season. So I was going around on Twitter. I decided to learn Docker because as I mentioned before, Conda wasn't working that well for me. I was like, well, what is something that I can guarantee that is going to work on other people's computer? And then I was having a look at Docker for a while. But Docker is quite difficult to understand, like to grasp the basics of it. And I had a look around. I read a book about it, and it helped, but not that much. And then I decided to do an online course. I watched a few videos on YouTube. Couldn't find anything that was like super simple to grasp. But then that video from Free Code Camp, I think it's Kata Cloud maybe. The instructor is really, really, really good. It's a 2 hours and 80 minutes video and gives you like all the walkthrough, like environment variables, a little bit of Vagrant, how to install it, how does it work, the difference between containers and virtual machines, then how to work with both of them together. And if you really want to do some exercises as well, there is then that link for Code Cloud that has loads of really cool exercises. And the terminal session for those exercises runs inside of the lab. So you have absolutely no problem with like bringing stuff from one place to another or trying to understand how they're going to check it or with the tests and stuff. Everything is super easy to use. And it's really good. So
So I only know enough Docker, just I can do the basic stuff myself. All the complicated stuff I ask my teammate to do. So I could introduce them to you. I mean, like if you have questions, I think maybe they could help you as well. Just we are a community in our community channel. But yeah, so there's another thing that I could blow your mind with, which is Ansible. So yeah, so it's like launching your containers like in the cloud automatically is a script that is like, it's like the YAML file for the Docker Compose, right? So, but instead of just like controlling one container, it would just, it could launch multiple containers
With one file.
with one file. It's yes, it will blow your mind if you're already like mind blown by this Docker thing. But and also
So
like
much-
another like product will be Terraform. Like, but I think Ansible is based on Python, so maybe you're more interested in that one. So yeah.
So yeah, I find this whole DevOps thing super, super, super interesting, and it has a little bit to do with work as well right now, with the tool that I'm working with right now. But yes, I've heard of Ansible because of Mihai Crivetti. He was in PyCon last year. No, the year before, because we didn't have a PyCon last year. The year before, the PyCon I met you. And he was telling everyone about it, and I thought it was super interesting, but I haven't actually got in. So much stuff to learn. It's like, give me more days.
I know. I actually like I was like that before when I was trying. I was trying to launch the Jupyter Notebook in the cloud. So I think I did a talk about that ages ago. I was just like starting to dive into all this stuff, and then I decided that no, this is too complicated. And then if I have a friend or a teammate to deal with it for me, then like I'm really thankful that like they do a really good job in that. I'm a basic girl. I'm a very basic girl, and now like people use GitHub Action as well. So that's another
Yes.
thing that blow my mind. And it's just don't have enough time to learn all this stuff, to be honest.
Yes.
But
I want
it's
to learn
good
GitHub
that
Actions now.
you are so passionate about it. I mean, like, yeah, it's good. It's good to be excited about things and learn. So yeah.
I mean, they're interesting things. That's why. Anyhow, I think we went through the time a little bit this week, right?
Yeah, we are, because too much fun.
Yes.
Yeah, and you see all the mess in my at the back. Now you can see all my pajamas laying around. Sorry about that, people.
I don't see
And my
pajamas, but
no, like okay, but okay, that's okay. So I think that's it for this week, and yeah, so I think that's it, and then we would have we pie in March, and then we'll have more stuff going on. We'll see you all, and yeah, and in the meantime, enjoy Python Discord as well, and have fun, and yeah.
Yes. And we're on Twitter, by the way. So meet pie if you want to send us a message, a request. If you want to be in, just send us a message on Twitter. We're there. And yes, see you in 4 weeks.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.